Another day, another terror suspect in Canada in trouble with the law. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. I have trouble faulting the RCMP on this one. The overwhelming task of monitoring would-be jihadis in Canada or Canadians involved in jihad abroad. A report last year put the number of Canadians who have gone overseas to participate in terrorist activities at 145, most of them in Iraq and Syria. We can assume that number's only grown since then. And here at home, more than 600 RCMP officers monitor would-be jihadis, and still, it's an uphill job. Witness Tevis Gonyou-McLean, a 24-year-old Ottawa man arrested last August. He was placed on a peace bond, and he's been arrested twice since, the latest being this past weekend. The original arrest documents claimed that Gonyou-McLean might, quote, leave Canada to participate in the activity of a terrorist group, participate in the activity of a terrorist group, or commission an offense for a terrorist group. Gonyou-McLean has been under more than 24 conditions since he was released in late August, including wearing a GPS ankle bracelet. One of the other terms was living in a special unit of the Salvation Army hospice that deals with mental health and addictions. He's been told to seek counseling, keep a curfew, not associate with several local Ottawa jihadis already in jail or facing trial on terrorism-related charges. Gonyou-McLean, he keeps breaking his conditions. He was arrested on that front again on October 25th, released again on Halloween, then picked up again for breaching conditions just 5 days later. Police are kind of stuck. They know this man to be dangerous. Of the hundreds of jihadis they surveil, only the most serious get to this point. But barring an actual act of terrorism or his attempt to go overseas and join ISIS, there's little they can actually do. And even if they have the evidence that Gonyou-McLean is a danger, that doesn't mean they can keep him under wraps. Aaron Driver was put on a peace bond that required him to wear an ankle bracelet. He was told to check in regularly with authorities to stay off the internet, all of this back in June 2015. Then in February 2016, his lawyer pushed in the courts to have the peace bond dropped. A compromise was reached. With the Mounties, the ankle bracelet dropped. Driver had to seek permission to own mobile devices and the like, and to stay off social media. If you paid attention this past August, then you know how it ended. Aaron Driver blowing himself up in a cab in the small town of Strathroy, Ontario, as police moved in. They moved in based on a tip from the FBI, a tip the FBI sent after obtaining Driver's latest online video post.
Oh, Canada, you received many warnings. You were told many times what would become of those who fight against the Islamic State. You watched as your allies in Europe and America had their bullets and bombs returned back to them. You saw bodies of the filthy French laying in their own streets. You saw explosions in Paris and Brussels, similar to the explosions they were dropping on the citizens of the Islamic State. You saw brave men and women respond to the call of jihad. You saw that each member of the coalition of crusaders was being punished for their aggression against the Muslims. Whether you spend millions in the war against Islam or you spend a single cent, we will hold you accountable, inshallah.
So what are the Mounties to do? So many jihadis, only so many officers to put on the cases before all other police work falls by the wayside. Well, one idea is to stop targeting the individual jihadis and focus on the instigators, the recruiters. If you look at where Canada's main jihadis come from, you'll notice certain hotspots: Ottawa, Montreal, Calgary, even London, Ontario. A disproportionate number of jihadis have come from and continue to come from these communities. Now, despite the myth of the lone wolf radicalized online, alone in a bedroom or living room while surfing the web, counterterrorism experts that I've spoken with say the initial push to radicalization almost always happens in person, and that the reason we see these hotspots is that these communities have recruiters or instigators that groom people. They may eventually push them towards online material, but by that point, they're already well down the jihadi path. We need to target these recruiters. We need to use whatever legal and available resources we have to end their games, end their recruiting practices, drive them out of business. That won't solve this problem completely, but it might mean fewer Tevis Gonyou-McLeans to deal with. If you like what you just watched, make sure you click subscribe on our YouTube channel. Never miss another Rebel video again, or head on over to the Rebel.media and become a member. At that point, you'll be able to access premium content you can, not find anywhere else.